Okay, so Boat Trip. I sat down to watch this movie with my roommates, and we were prepared to roast the ever-loving shit out of it. As I was informed, it was a really bad LGBT movie with a whopping 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. There's no doubt about it. This is a bad movie, but for some reason, we liked it. Perhaps this can be attributed to having other people present, as I have a tradition of sitting down with friends to intentionally watch horrible movies just to laugh at them. A good example would be Tommy Wiseau's film abomination, The Room.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Boat Trip is the first movie directed by Mort Nathan, known for his work on The Golden Girls and Kingpin. Our two main characters are Nick and his friend Jerry. After Jerry's girlfriend of 4 years reveals that she cheated on him and dumps him for a mechanic, Nick convinces Jerry to go on a cruise to get away for some R&R and some hot babes. Through a string of events caused directly by Nick being an asshole to the travel agent, who turns out to be gay, the two consequently wind up on an all-gay cruise. Jerry winds up meeting the only woman aboard, Gabriella, who's the dance instructor. And Gabriella reveals that she feels more comfortable around gay men because she has had a string of bad relationships and doesn't have to worry about straight men on the cruise.
Excuse me?
That is so great, because I can really be myself.
Jerry, wanting to get closer to her, lies to Gabriella and pretends he is gay. He walks a fine line the rest of the film between trying to keep his cover while also trying to convince Gabriella he's not gay, as she mentions that she is attracted to him. Nick and Jerry are fragile in their heterosexuality and masculinity, and we see them struggling to overcome their homophobia. While we did have to endure a rather boring heterosexual plotline, despite a literal boatload of queers, the straight people were often the butt of the joke. It took a long time for Jerry and Nick to figure out that their cruise was full of gay men, despite the obvious signs. Oh god. The film is about two straight men in a gay world. On the ship, being gay is seen as the default, which is the complete opposite of society. The boat functions as a sort of utopia for gay men. It's a sort of liminal space where being gay is the norm. Jerry actually has to come out as straight to Gabriella, which is a complete subversion of the typical gay people having to come out as gay to straight people. Nick is forced to confront his rampant homophobia as he realizes that he gets along really well with some of the men on board.
It's funny, you know? These guys I'm playing poker with, Steven, Tom, Ron. Steven's a doctor. A gay heart surgeon, who would have thought? And Ron's a criminal defense attorney. I mean, he represents some pretty badass dudes. Tom's a cross-dressing pastry chef. Okay, I would have guessed that. But still, they're a great bunch of guys.
So what are you saying?
What am I saying? What I'm saying is, I kind of wanted to hang out more with these guys. But there was a part of me that felt it was somehow wrong to be friends with gay men. And that makes me feel like a jerk.
Because you are a jerk. Ding, ding, ding. Now, there were some issues. We have to suffer through some scenes of Nick being gross and objectifying women. This movie just completely forgets that bisexuality is a thing that exists. Nick is a homophobic prick who later wonders if he might be gay, but obviously discovers that this isn't the case. This subverts the myth that homophobes are just closeted queers. And from our book, You Can Tell Just By Looking, on page 39 they say, "It's important to remember that the myth that most homophobes are repressed homosexuals is very often a story to explain and negate straight male aggression against gay men. Rather than homophobes repressing their homosexual feelings, it is more likely that they are avoiding the idea of homosexuality. It has less to do with gay people and more to do with the fragile identity of straight people. No one explanation of homophobia can be fully accurate if it denies its connections to the many other frames through which we see the world." Nick also references another myth when he says that Jerry looks gay because of his clothing choices, in reference to the popular myth You Can Tell Just By Looking.
That's why. You always dress real nice, you're in shape, you're neat.
We really do get to see both Nick and Jerry discovering themselves. Jerry ends up performing in drag and sort of confronting his fragile masculinity. Was Boat Trip a garbage fire? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Also yes. Is this movie homophobic because it relies heavily on stereotypes? We could reference Schulman's homophobia as a pleasure system. Well, would a homophobe enjoy this movie? No, because it's not pleasurable. So if you feel like watching a movie about two straight men being stranded in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by gay people, and forced to confront their homophobia, fragile masculinity, then this is the movie for you, because it's really bad, but I still enjoyed it.
Bye.